Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Hot Topic podcast. I am Connor Hobson, and today we'll look into how the media normalizes and even creates environments where children today are able to pseudo-gamble and how that affects their psychology. Today I'll take you through a few ideas. First, how gambling affects children, then the forms of pseudo-gambling we see in children today, and how that evolved from old forms of pseudo-gambling we saw dating back to 20th century America. Gambling advertisements that appeal to kids and may cross their path, and finally I hope to articulate how that can affect children in the long term, since gambling is a widespread problem in America, because according to the NCPG, or National Council on Problem Gambling, almost 5 million Americans suffer from a gambling addiction in one form or another. Gambling is defined by Merriam-Webster as the practice of risking money or other stakes in a game or a bet, a definition that is fairly vague, but in a lot of ways could describe a lot of things. As a child, I was big into Pokemon cards and baseball cards. I or my parents would put up real money, and I would attempt to score a good set of cards. At that age, it was mostly a way to brag to my friends, but now it has become clear things like Pokemon or sports cards can be put up for real monetary value. This, in a way, is gambling. The biggest question point, though, I think, is the game aspect. Could that be considered a game? Which, as we defined in the Merriam-Webster definition, is an important aspect of gambling. It is a system of chance, though whether or not it's a game of chance is kind of what I think allows it to skirt around the legal definition of gambling. This is a system very much ingrained in the minds of children since card packs have been around, random card packs being around for decades, the origin of them being random promotions in packs of gum or tobacco products in post-war America, starting around 1950. And later evolved into booster packs featuring chases, starting in 1993 with Topps introducing randomly signed trading cards, causing fans to open more and more packs to find these signatures. Games like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, or Yu-Gi-Oh! Created a rarity system, distinguishing cards and adding value to those cards that were printed in less quantities than other cards. Some cards even coming out of brand new sets being worth hundreds or thousands of dollars from the day they're printed, depending on the desirability of art, playability in game, and of course, if it is an ultra rare card only owned by a limited number of players. A card so rare a traditional casino gambler may consider it a jackpot. Something that can move the monetary value of the sealed $5 pack up exponentially. Well, a bad pack could lose its monetary value, which in many ways isn't too dissimilar to gambling. Modern media has created a space where kids can use similar mechanics digitally to buy loot crates. For example, in the popular game NBA 2K, you open online purchasable packs to add accessories to your player and get new players for your online team, thus hiding many of the high-ranking characters behind this mechanic, which requires real money to buy into, with the outcome being totally random. This system has been directly linked or correlated to gambling by organizations like the Family Online Safety Institute. Many nations took notice, Australia for example placing a mandatory M rating on any game that features randomized loot drops in exchange for real-world currency, or in-game currency bought with real-world currency, leading some games like Fortnite and Roblox, who have some of the largest player bases in gaming, to switch their model from a loot crate system directly to seasonal and limited microtransactions, which is where in-game accessories and characters are available for a limited time. While that kind of falls out of the scope of what we're talking about, I think that is notable in finding a new way to pressure kids to buy lots of stuff and buy it quickly to keep up with the digital trends of today and not miss out on these limited time accessories. Fortnite, for example, had pop culture icons like Darth Vader or Batman, musicians like Eminem or Ariana Grande, featured as playable characters, along with things like sports stars and mascots. So while the near blatant attempts at child age gambling are now more or less removed from a lot of these big titles, barring things like NBA 2K, in their place are new ways the game pressures children to spend real-life currency, which has been proven to often cause irresponsibility with money in the digital ecosystem. Much like smoking and alcohol, gambling occasionally lands into the life of children, and despite being legal for adults and having negative effects on said adults, are still not legal for children and can cause some serious issues despite not being as prevalent or widely talked about as childhood substance abuse, which is widely talked about in PSAs and by schools and parents. According to Algmas Recovery Services, most children today gamble online, whether that's through a video game in a loot box-like scenario, or if they somehow gain access to a gambling website. These can affect every aspect of life, be that the child's grades, social life, or general hobbies, and lead to irritation as well. All this kind of takes away from activities that are productive and healthy for a child, and can lead to lifelong gambling addictions. Gambling also seems to be making a comeback in terms of advertising pushing to a younger age. It isn't uncommon to see an ad for an app like Prize Picks, which is an app that has been under scrutiny for being basically sports gambling, but skirting the line enough to make it considered an online game of skill that remains legal in most states, though has age restrictions. The app frequently features celebrities like Drewski, a singer popular with kids, and boasts big returns, has funny jokes in their commercials, and colorful graphics, attempting to place the app in the subconscious of kids, the way I think most American children of my generation knew about major insurance companies like Geico, Progressive, or State Farm through their goofy ads and celebrity endorsements, when realistically children don't yet have a need to own their own insurance, similar to the way that they don't need to know what sites they will be able to do sports betting on in the future. Now, to be fair, this isn't a totally new phenomenon. I doubt many people attending this class didn't know the little Treasure Island Resort and Casino jingle that runs across Minnesota television sets everywhere. I'm also sure many of us have taken trips to the lakes further up north only to be bombarded with Turtle Lake Casino and Grand Casino ads, promising us riches if only we could come and play some games at their casinos. Would it also be off base to say something like the old and now mostly extinct gaming arcade didn't have gambling games in its own way? I think the media has been pushing gambling for a long time, and I think pseudo-gambling is something kids have been doing forever, and navigating these new forms of media and how they can potentially push this habit on children is a good thing for parents to look into and study and be informed on.